This is Diablo 4. We're here on Xbox Series S. Be sure to like the video. Subscribing is great as well. So what are we getting here? It's a kind of reconstructed up to 1440p resolution, which actually looks really sharp and quite impressive for the Series S at 60 FPS. There's cross-play, there's cooperative play, and it's a seamless multiplayer open world experience unlike we've ever seen within the Diablo franchise. And I've been having an absolute blast with this game. If you are buying it, consider using my affiliate link in the video description, as it'll take you to, well, the Microsoft Store, and it supports the content. But yeah, let's dive in and let's take a look at what Diablo 4 has to offer on the Series S. And as I said, it is genuinely a visually impressive experience for this platform, as you typically don't expect such a well-polished, well-put-together sort of offering when it comes to some of the games. Because I've seen some very, kind of questionable stuff every now and then, but no, they absolutely nailed it for Diablo 4 on the Series S. It genuinely looks fantastic. Really, visually, it's all intact. You get to explore a massive world and enjoy the seamless multiplayer setup. It's really, really quite cool. So Diablo 4 is a little bit different if you've played the previous Diablo titles. You very much can come into this fresh, and I think you can pick up what's going on from a narrative standpoint. It's a nice new refresh set point for the series. But still, for those that are long-term fans, I believe you can come in here and you can have a rewarding continued narrative experience that does actually push things in some exciting and shocking ways. So if you're not familiar with what Diablo is, it's a dungeon crawling game. It's probably the definitive dungeon crawling game. I guess I'm trying to think of something else that would really come to mind as being something larger in that regard, or something more thought of by people. But yeah, and it's a very streamlined, simplistic thing where you are, collecting items, collecting gear, clicking easygoing buttons in order to battle with various skills, and then, kind of redoing that over and over again. So the main game, the main narrative, is at least 15 hours long. I went through it pretty quickly, and it was 15 to 20 hours for just the main story. But if you're familiar with Diablo, the main story is a small piece of the overall puzzle. Because the goal is to continue to level and improve your character over time. And then maybe play another character, because there's 5 different classes. I am the necromancer, but you could play as, I don't know, let's say, for example, you want to be, there's the barbarian, which is more melee. There's the rogue, which is a bit of a distance mix. There's also the sorcerer, where you go and shoot magic and stuff. And yeah, there's just a really good range of class options, so you can kind of become what you would like to become. And then there's also the druid, which is more animalistic monster sort of combination thing. But what's really neat is the game has these really in-depth skill systems. So you basically, as you're leveling, you're moving through the skill tree and unlocking things and getting bonuses and getting better abilities. And then if you're say the necromancer, you're going to have adjustments to your particular, classes of skeletons. So if you play something like the sorcerer, for example, I love to use the sorcerer as an example for this kind of thing, you can really make dynamic subclasses within your class. Are you going to be something that is a bit more acidic toxicity? Are you more fire? Are you more electricity? You kind of build your class how you want. And of course there's going to be meta stuff for the more intensive players, but for casual ones jumping in there, you really do get to personalize and build whatever kind of cool character you want. And there is a little bit of customization. I wish it was a little bit more in depth, but there is some personalization to your characters, as that does pop up in cinematic moments and everything like that. You also have the addition of horses, which makes sense when you've got an absolutely massive world to explore. So I don't want to spoil things, but there is an endgame, obviously, with this type of thing. So it becomes this like really sprawling set of missions where you're basically going and doing kind of a gifting sort of thing. And then when you do so many of these gifts, you basically get more challenges and you get loot and you get rewards. And then the game has different difficulty levels too. So I did turn it to World Tier 1 because I want to make myself look like I'm good. But so there is a different difficulty tiers present if you need a harder experience, a more challenging one. And then there's certain things like you got to do, and I'm working towards it. You do the Cathedral of Light, and then you can unlock like Nightmare mode, and then there's like even more, and then there's Hardcore, where it's like if you die, your character dies forever. Hardcore, not recommended for a fun time. But the thing is like the harder the difficulty, the more rewarding the experience is in terms of loot and gear, and that's what Diablo is you keep fighting for more and more loot. You keep exploring for more and more loot, and you conquer dungeons, and you do all of these different things. It really is quite an expansive experience, and I think the open world element of it just perfectly works in Diablo. Because if you've played older Diablo titles, they're a lot more linear in their design. They're focused on getting you to certain points. Like, you can move around a little bit, you know, little smaller, almost Fable-esque little hub worlds, I'd call them. But in this one, it truly is a massive open world that I've spent, like, again, like, I've seen a lot of it, but I'm still missing a lot of it, and I have at least 25 or something plus hours on the main game, and then it's like, you know, in the beta, I did each of the different classes, so that was like 25 plus. So I've put in like a lot of time in this game, and I'm not even really close to, you know, really finishing it or getting to a point where I'm tired of it, and that is absolutely remarkable. Honestly, it's amazing. It's like basically Diablo just amped up to another notch. It really is just an excellent experience. I've had a ton of fun playing this. And what also is really, really cool is that when you're playing like cooperatively with others, because it is like a seamless world, like you saw us doing the battle over there, and it was like, you know, there was other players and stuff. So there's these cool things called world bosses, and I don't think there's any going on right now. But you do like, oh, whoa, maybe Legion event in 3 minutes. That's not quite the same. But we should go do that, because that's kind of cool. Yeah, we should go do that. So anyways, you go off and you have like these world boss scenarios where it's like a bunch of players, like I'm talking tens of players, come together to fight like a huge monster, and there's like a time crunch, and it's really, really quite interesting and a different sort of take on the game. There's also these cool places called strongholds, which are like intensive light story-based areas that you kind of cleanse. There's also lots of dungeons, cellars, a bunch of spontaneous world events, miscellaneous enemies out in the wilderness. There's the endgame content, there's the PvP endgame content with little areas that you go and you can do PvP stuff, and it's remarkably massive. Like, this game is huge. And I think more like other players will spend even more time playing it than me, because, you know, obviously I'm doing it for, like, you know, doing work and everything like that. But like, it really is just this crazy large expansive game. And what's really, really neat to me, wow, there's a lot of players here, is that like it's something that you can play and you can play again and you can play more and you can keep doing it, and then you can make different characters and you can keep playing it. But it's just like, it's very good and you want to keep playing it, and it's very intriguing. And then from like a narrative standpoint, the game is just really, really quite exciting. Like, it's very, very well done. You are, you know, kind of trying to find out, like, Lilith is back, and you're trying to figure out, like, what is her game plan. Like, you know, you've got the heavens, you've got the fiery hatred pits below. Lilith is in the middle, and you're trying to figure out, what is her angle? What is she doing? She's doing terrible things, but she's not specifically on any side, and it's It's a neat sort of story that keeps you guessing across its many acts, and like I said, it's very long. And what's even more impressive is the fact that the story doesn't even use the whole world. Like, all these areas, they're still blanked out. And trust me, I have explored and pushed to explore. I really, really have. It's just like, it is a big, big game with like a lot of stuff to do. Because this, like, it doesn't even really, like, it shows the dungeons, but it doesn't show like in the dungeons and different places you go to. Again, the battle's going to start really shortly here. It's going to be pretty cool. But yeah, what I'm trying to get to is the story is like really long, but it's very good and it's very dynamic with the characters that you get to know, and it's got like a really dark, mature element to it. Incredible CGI cutscenes. It's just great, and like every part of the game consistently like keeps you guessing, and it keeps you having a fresh experience. Like, you will explore entirely different areas throughout your adventures. Seriously, like, you'll go from snowy places to deep arid deserts, and there'll be swamps and highlands and, you know, more demonic places and dungeons that are filled with skeletons and like grotesque, you know, ethereal places. And it's just like, it's so wildly large, and every step of the way is different. Like, it really genuinely is different every step of the way. You're always visiting new places and seeing new things constantly. Like, even at this point, you know, we're literally exploring new territories, or I'm doing new world events, or I'm doing new battles, or I'm gathering new loot, or I'm unlocking something new for my horse, or I'm just having a great time playing this game. And it's something where it's like, if you like the Diablo formula, I really do think they've actually gone in a really good direction with this series that is just awesome. It really is. Like, I can't honestly get enough of this game, and I feel like I can just play it almost endlessly. And I'm wondering, like, you know, where is this gonna go? Because this is like even the humble beginnings of this game. Like, this is gonna be a long-term supported thing where they've got, you know, expansions planned, they've got battle passes, and I can't speak for those at the point because I haven't seen them. But it's just like, to have this much content and have it this well polished, this well running, you know, it really is great. I mean, the one thing would be like maybe servers, but I imagine that stuff's going to be mostly smoothed out as everything kind of goes along. But, you know, from what I've played while playing the game, it all just runs. It all looks very, very good. And again, on the Series S, like, it's genuinely impressive what they were able to pull off with the Series S version of the game. It really, really is just quite remarkable from a technical standpoint. This is one of the more impressive Series S offerings I've seen for multi-platform releases. They really did nail it. I don't know if I really dove into it, but there is great scaling for this when you're playing in co-op with others. I think I was kind of getting to it, but I might have trailed off a bit. But like, it really does allow you to play with your pals if you want to, no matter the differences in levels and stuff. Some areas might gap up a bit if they're like more intensive spots, but like, yeah, this game is very friendly for allowing you to actually enjoy this with your buddies, and I think that's absolutely fantastic and key for this type of game, because it is such a, like, it's such a multiplayer focused game, this one. It really is. Like, the seamless events of the open world, the seamless goals of the open world, the different missions you can do, the fact that you can just be adventuring and come across somebody, and there's a clan system, so if you're looking for a clan, you should join the clan. Oh, we actually got a request thing. That's awesome. So yeah, we have our clan here. If you want to join it, we've got, you know, some people going on. And then there is microtransactions in the store where you can get armor, and there's social stuff and collections and progress stuff, and like there's a lot to this game. It just is. It's a big game that feels endlessly exciting. I think you can have so much fun playing this game. You can do so many weird things, and it's very accessible, I think, for anyone to kind of get in and play something easier, play something a little harder, you know, play it with others, play it alone. It really does kind of offer a little bit of something, I think, for anyone, if this is your style of game. And I mean, obviously, this is a very popular title. I mean, Diablo is, you know, an iconic long-term gaming franchise, and it's just so neat that they're able to so almost flawlessly pull off sort of a hybridization of, like, the dark classic style, but also the fun sort of evolved multiplayer elements of, you know, time and everything that's gone into this franchise, and we've seen it change so many times. But yeah, they really, really did nail it. I'm blown away by this game. I want to play more and more and more, and I keep trying to find more and more time to keep playing it. But like I'd say in general, it's just really cool. And I'm glad we waited for this, because this is like a really great action-packed and again, random event. Like, this wasn't planned. It just so happened that this was going on, and I was like, awesome. Let's go in here and let's do this stuff. And I think that is a really cool sort of thing that, like, makes it almost into the realm of like an MMORPG, because obviously, you know, it's like an action role-playing game, right? ARPG. But like, it's massive multiplayer too, because you're constantly like in this seamless sort of connected world, and it's cool from that perspective, because it just works well. It makes it feel a lot more livelier than I think it ever has before. And there's so much to like do and enjoy, and you know, like I said, the story I think in this game is excellent as well. I really did get to know and care about the characters and understand the struggles and a lot of the motivations, and they hit the narrative of what you were working towards really well too. Because like I said, you're kind of trying to figure out what is going on with Lilith. So it's kind of like this almost puzzle-solving detective type scenario. It's not like Halo 3 ODST where you're going around picking up the trail, but you're like, you know, you're not exactly sure what's going on. And you are just kind of like doing your missions, meeting the people, going to towns, interacting with like NPCs, and you know, that's a lot of it, is just like that sort of scenario and setup. But it works, it really does, and it just keeps you really in like attentively into what's going on. And you can just like go off and do other stuff. I worked really hard to get through the story fast so that I could cover the game and do my reviews and stuff, but like most players will just sort of take their time, and they'll go and they'll do dungeons, and they'll do strongholds, and they'll interact, and they'll level, and they'll do random world events and world bosses, and they'll see so much of the game while doing the story, and the story will almost be like a backdrop to all of the insanity going on in the foreground. But yeah, I love these events and stuff. They're really, really cool. They're such a different kind of dynamic to what we've come to expect from Diablo. I think, you know, to me, this is really, really exciting that stuff like this, you know, exists, that we can go and we can, you know, do our stuff maybe by ourselves and work through our story content, or we can team up and do dungeons, or we can just like randomly gather as a mass of players and just, you know, go and fight and kill stuff together. And it, like I said, it's dark, it's grim, it's creepy. There's monsters, there's death, there's like undead things and living stuff and demonic presences, and you get to go to scary places and see terrifying things, and it's awesome. It really is. It's such an impressively created experience, and I think the biggest thing is I just literally cannot wait to see like where it ends up, like what is going to be the final state of this game, because this is going to be something that's here for a long time. The gap between 3 and 4 for Diablo was crazy, and I think it's going to be a similar situation where this is going to be a long-term thing, but they're going to just stuff it with great content, and we're already seeing just so much for you to do, so much for you to see. And you can just have a great time exploring, taking in the world, battling in dungeons, doing strongholds, doing the story, playing alone, playing with others. There's just really an incredible amount of content to this game, and I think they absolutely nailed the gameplay. And there's just so much to go over, so much to talk about, but it is a splendid time.